Now for the story that everybody certainly has been asking me to address personally. Got a lot of comments that said, I'm surprised you haven't discussed FTX and Voyager in the newsletter. First of all, it happened over the weekend. Second of all, as usual, guys, I'm trying to make a point right now, not to rush to be the first to present something, but to rush to be the first to present something when it's shaken out and actually appears to be fact. And when I've actually done a bit of research and work. And I've read quite a bit, a few takes on this, a few threads. I presented a thread in the newsletter about this that seemed to align pretty well with my thoughts on the situation here. But as usual, listen, FTX made a public proposal towards Voyager, and people assumed that it was what was actually happening. It was accepted already. And so I immediately, of course, hit up the people I know at Voyager and said, wow, this is quite a proposal. What's going on? Their answer was, I don't know. We found out about it the same time as you. Right? So what happened here is FTX put forward this proposal publicly, and it was delivered privately to Voyager as an offer at the exact same time, which is why it took a few days for Voyager to respond, for myself and others to absorb what was potentially happening here. And it made for very, very interesting research. So if you guys missed this, obviously, a lot of people have been looking for Voyager to get some sort of bailout, a partnership, a buyout, you name it, right? And a lot of people thought that that would be FTX. FTX would do what they did with BlockFi. They would come in, they would basically take over and rescue Voyager. What FTX has proposed here instead is that they offer instant liquidity on the existing assets in Voyager, less the 3AC claims. That's very important. They want nothing to do with Three Arrows Capital claims, and immediately give that liquidity in the form of cash, not coins, to Voyager customers. So what would that mean? I mean, let's say that Voyager, just throwing numbers out that have been used as an example by SBF. These are not the accurate numbers. Let's say that Voyager actually has 75% of the assets still, right? And that, so, you know, if there was $1 million, it's not in total that they owed, that they actually have $750,000 of those assets. We know it's much bigger numbers. Sam's point is, why is that money not available to customers right now? But that is treating this like a liquidation proceeding and not a restructuring proceeding, right? So what they're offering, which obviously has massive upside for Alameda and FTX, particularly for FTX, is that they would buy out all of those assets that exist from Voyager, basically a liquidation. All you'd have to do as a customer is go sign up on FTX, and you would have that money given to you in the form of cash immediately to buy back your assets. And then you would still have the claims to 3AC and all the other things in the bankruptcy proceeding. But that would be the end of Voyager, obviously. So it makes sense that Voyager found this offensive. They said that a lot of the information were assumptions and it was incorrect. This basically undermines what Voyager is trying to do, which I've talked about before in the past, right? What Voyager was trying to do, likely, with their stalking horse offer in Chapter 11, was to go through Chapter 11, clear all of the liabilities, clear all of the claims against them, and make it a clean sale to some potential suitor. Now, we've seen that they're talking about an auction at the end of August. They've claimed there's up to 80 people that are interested, 80 entities interested in buying out Voyager or doing some sort of deal, basically going to auction it off to the highest bidder. Well, that's going to be an expensive process, to Sam's point. So obviously, whatever assets are existing or being depleted on a daily basis could cost up to 9 figures by the time this is all done. But that would not require liquidating assets. And there is a chance, if the deal is done correctly, that customers could be made whole. And not only made whole, even if it's less than made whole, they could get their assets back in kind. Because here's the problem. I've talked to a lot of people about this. I have friends who are like, yeah, fuck it, man. Give me the cash, my 70%, whatever, I'm out. And they want this FTX deal. But for someone like me, there's some serious questions, right? As I've told you, it's primarily my Ethereum, a large stack of Bitcoin, some other coins. Is there a taxable transaction if FTX was allowed to do this and I accepted the deal in cash? Have I now sold at a major profit with some short-term and long-term capital gains all of my coins to make this happen? Or were those coins not actually mine, as Voyager said? How does this play out for taxes? I have no idea. That's a huge question for me. But also, I don't want myself, even as a trader or anyone else necessarily, to have to now go take the cash out, that percentage, and go try to time the market once again. So, inevitably people are going to say, well, this is, how much I had when they declared bankruptcy. I want to have that much Bitcoin, Ethereum. They're going to wait for a drop that doesn't come. They're going to FOMO back in later. I think ideally, all of us just want our coins back, right? I would certainly rather get 75% of my money back in kind than 75% of it in cash right now. Now, I'm making no claim that FTX, Alameda, SBF are doing anything untoward here, right? They give a lot of upside for the user who wants the flexibility and wants the liquidity right now. But this would be the end of Voyager, and all those customers would obviously become FTX customers. It's a pretty cheeky offer, as one of you said. It's a sharky offer, but would benefit potentially both sides. And interestingly, you would still, as a user of Voyager, get the benefit of the bankruptcy proceeding. So if 3AC actually has more than a down payment on a yacht to their name, a yacht that they don't have, that I feel like I own at least the sink on that yacht, maybe a toilet, maybe a piece of tile. But if they actually recoup some of those, you would still get paid back that part. But this, obviously, there would be no operating business for Voyager. And so Sam is basically making the argument that it's over. The people deserve their money. Voyager has the assets. We should get it. And Voyager is saying, hey, man, maybe we want to make everyone whole. And certainly we want to save our own necks. All I know is that right now, I've got millions of dollars in limbo. And frankly, I don't want it handed back to me in cash to figure out what to do with. And I think that most people don't as well, unless they're just trying to exit the market in general. So it's going to be a very, very strange process. I think they're just not going to even entertain the offer, to be quite frank. It's not going to happen. Be interesting to see how FTX continues to push on this. But Voyager clearly has a plan and wants to get this to auction at the end of August, because that would be better for them, potentially shareholders, certainly the company, and maybe for customers. It's a shit show, man. It's a shit show. Voyager certainly was not expecting that to be sort of proposed publicly and to have that pressure put on them. Holy shit, millions. Where you been, Kev? Yes, millions. I'm one of the top creditors, Voyager. Anywho, yeah, it feels bad, man. Feels bad.